Arm was 37-year-old Trevor James Lyons of Bangor. Officers say they had failed to locate Lyons at this Bangor residence in a previous attempt to arrest him on outstanding warrants. They say they believed he was hiding out in various places around the city to evade arrest, and that included the homeless encampments. Bangor police say officers entered the encampment and found Lyons attempting to hide behind a tree on a hill behind the encampment. There was a brief standoff and officers attempted to take him into custody. They say Lyons resisted and an officer was injured during the struggle. Lyons was arrested and a Bangor police canine located the firearm they believe to be the one brandished. Lyons has been booked into the Penobscot County Jail on 4 outstanding warrants for his arrest, with additional charges now pending.
Meanwhile, a rally in support of the lobster industry was held this afternoon in Portland. Our Matthew Juronsic gives us a closer look.
I'm here at the Don't Tread on Maine lobster rally, where behind me, hundreds of lobster men and women came out to support the fight being put on the lobster industry. Lobster men and women from across the state traveled to DeMillo's on the Water Wednesday afternoon. They are pushing for the state to file a lawsuit against Monterey Bay Aquarium, who recently red-listed Maine lobsters.
We need the state of Maine to step up and be plaintiffs and step up to defend us. Coming to our defense as interveners just isn't enough right now.
Members of the lobster community made themselves known with the posters and attire they wore throughout the rally. Deer Isle lobsterman Dwight Staples says this is the kind of support they needed.
It just excites me to see so many people coming out in support of the fishing industry, because it means so much to Maine. It's a way of life. It's part of the coastal communities, and to have it under attack is something we're going to defend.
Members of the lobster community spoke out, saying Maine congressional leaders need to do more.
Governor Mills, you should be ashamed of yourself. Any congressional leader that is taking campaign money for these donors should give it back. They are essentially buying you to push their agenda. That is not your job. Your job is to hear the Maine people.
Congressman Jared Golden and former Congressman Bruce Poliquin were among the attendees at the rally. Deer Isle lobster woman Virginia Olson hopes this rally will get the attention of state leaders.
The importance of this rally is asking everyone to action. That action item is to go on to don'ttreadonmainelobster.com. Send a quick note to Aaron Fry to say, please step up and make that motion. Go and file legal action on behalf of the Maine lobstermen and step up as plaintiffs and stand up for Maine.
Matthew Juronsic, ABC7 and Fox 22.
Well, the town of Fairfield invited District Attorney Megan Maloney and Department of Corrections Commissioner Randall Liberty, along with a delegation of local legislators, to their town hall meeting tonight. The discussion focused on issues they've been having in the town with juvenile mischief. During the meeting, Fairfield Police Chief Thomas Gould said they've received 27 complaints regarding juvenile behavior since the beginning of the month.
Mooning, mostly swearing in traffic. Just general all over town. But it's important that we all remember it's a small group of kids that are out there. 90% of the kids that we see out there are really decent kids. They want this problem fixed as much as we do.
Well, there will also be a town hall style meeting with Police Chief Thomas Gould at the Community Center in Fairfield tomorrow at 5 p.m. Any questions for the chief can be answered then.
A well-known businessman and promoter of country music in Maine has passed away. If you're a resident of a certain age, you will remember Richard Dick Stacy and Dick Stacy's Country Jamboree that ran on WVII during the 1970s and 80s. It was a country talent show that aired on Saturday evenings. Stacy's promoting skills gave countless local and national artists a stage to perform. He's also remembered for his colorful commercials promoting the gas station he owned. Dick Stacy was inducted into the Maine Country Music Hall of Fame in 2021. He passed away on Monday, surrounded by his wife and family. Dick Stacy was 85.
Well, a Canadian business is acquiring its second Bangor area transportation company. A statement from the firm says Bison Transport will acquire 100% of the issued and outstanding shares of Pottles Transportation effective October 31. Pottles is headquartered in Herman, and the second-generation company has over 200 tractors and 750 trailers. Bison Transportation acquired Hart Transportation at the end of last year, ending 73 years of local ownership. Bison's president and CEO Rob Penner said, quote, "We are excited about the next step in our U.S. growth. The investment in Pottles punctuates our commitment to the region, the customers, and the great people we have in our business. We look forward to connecting our most recent acquisition of Hart Transportation with Pottles as we continue to build Bison Transport USA," end quote.
Two of the three candidates running for governor presented their views on a wide range of topics. A forum was held at Thomas College as part of the Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce Breakfast Series. One issue discussed was that Maine businesses are unable to find enough workers or enough skilled employees. And Independent Sam Hunkler and Republican Paula Page were both asked how they would address the issue.
We need to keep our young here, and we need to stop the brain drain that goes on here, which means that we do need to create jobs, and we need to create incentives for people to come here as businesses, and we need to have loans that are not so much matching loans, but loans that can start businesses right away through grants.
We have to stop paying people to stay home. Right now, we've gone from 65% down to 58.8%. And these people are staying home.
The candidates were asked about a variety of other topics as well, ranging from an expansion of rail service to what they would do to help areas that have detected PFAS or forever chemicals. When asked how they would help ease healthcare shortages and stabilize the healthcare system, both candidates found some common ground.
I would also repeal the COVID vaccine mandate, so that we can get all those people who stopped and quit and were forced out of work to get back to work. That's one of the biggest reasons why we have such a health care shortage in this state.
Everyone that was fired by the mandate should be rehired immediately, period. We have group homes. We've lost 30 group homes. We've lost 8 nursing homes. Hospitals are absolutely full of people.
Current Governor Janet Mills is also running to defend her seat, but she did not offend the forum.
All right, well, we are absolutely being spoiled. You know, we are getting that last resurgence of summer-like temperatures before I think we settle into, you know, the real fall and early winter temperatures.
Yes, several days like today recently have just been a treat, and so hoping that that trend continues. Yeah,
it definitely makes you want to get outside and stay outside. That's true, though, of, you know, the more brisk temperatures. You know, we're certainly not seeing any real cold yet, so that's good. Well, with a little bit more on what we can expect, let's take a first look at our forecast.
Thank you so much. And our first weather is brought to you by Scott's Recreation, locations in Turner, Manchester, Herman, and Oronoa, Maine. All right, so not much going on right now. Just some cloudy skies, a couple of sprinkles up north, but this is the calm before the storm. A lot more rain is on the way. But let's talk about these temperatures. It was chilly outside this morning. I had my coat out. It was freezing, 31 degrees in Bangor. St. closer to Machias, 32, and even cooler just up north. But look at this rebound in temperatures. The sun slightly came out, but the temperatures definitely warmed up. Lots of 60s and 70s across the area. 70 degrees earlier today in Bangor, so well above average temperatures have arrived. But later on tonight, we'll continue to see above average temperatures in those upper 40s to lower 50s.
So remaining comfortable overnight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Even a warm overnight. So we're staying consistent with the last heat surge.
Yep, love to see that. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10. The Maine Department of Environmental Protection offers the company that owns the Shawmut Dam an opportunity to submit an updated application.
We'll have that story and more local news when we come right back.
It's your car, truck, or SUV. Find it at Quirk.
Your representative has your back. Who's he kidding? Jared Golden votes with Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden 83% of the time. The result? A war on the middle class, the worst inflation in 40 years, sky-high energy prices, drugs pouring over the border. And Jared Golden just voted for 87,000 new IRS agents to hassle the middle class. Jared Golden doesn't have your back. He has theirs. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Whether you're hurt by a box truck or by any commercial vehicle, you may have a big case worth big money. If you've been hurt by any commercial truck, call the Twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial truck? Come out on top. Call the Twos.
Great things are always cooking at the Ground. New menu, new specials, with an amazing variety of choices for every taste. Good times, great service, and amazing food. Only at your locally owned Ground. Odland Road, Bangor.
It's Battle of the Ages.
These old geezers better work.
This old guy's here to play.
This is a joke. Hell's Kitchen, Battle of the Ages, Thursday on Fox.
It's your car, it's your SUV, it's your truck. Experience the pre-owned difference with a huge selection of over 500 used vehicles at Quirk Motor City Used Vehicle Center, 377 Hogan Road, Bangor.
It's your car. Find it at Quirk Motor City.
Coming up tomorrow on Good Morning Maine, lobstermen are steaming as they hold a big rally, fearing new federal regulations could put them out of business. And they'll be celebrating apples in Unity this weekend, a chance for you to identify a mystery apple that you might have around your own home. Hope you'll join us for Good Morning Maine.
The Maine Department of Environmental Protection is offering the company that owns the Shawmut Dam an opportunity to submit an updated application. That decision was announced today. A statement sent out from Maine DEP says it comes after Brookfield Renewable Energy very recently amended its application to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission for a new license for the dam. The statement says the amended application provides significant new information about proposed measures Brookfield would take to protect Atlantic salmon. The FERC is now gathering public comment on the new information. The public comment period closes October 25th. DEP will then consider all the information and merits of the application, and according to their statement, today's decision does not change the dam's current operation, and Governor Mills has made it clear she will not support any action in the relicensing process that would jeopardize the future of the Sappy Mill.
A reenactment group is bringing one of Bangor's most historic events back to life. Devin Dagnall has more.
Public enemy number one, shot and killed on the streets of Bangor? What are you talking about? That never happened. Oh, yes, it did.
Here by my feet is the gravesite of Alfred James Brady, public enemy number one during the 1930s. His headstone is decorated with buttons and pennies to memorialize him and the last stand he and his gang took here in Bangor.
October 12th marks the 85th anniversary of the Al Brady gang shootout. According to Richard Shaw, Bangor's historian, the event only lasted 40 seconds, but it echoes through the city of Bangor's history, even to this day.
It's sort of become folded into Bangor's wild and woolly history, Prohibition, and before that, the bootlegging. The fact that something so was witnessed by so many people, including my mother, I think it's important to know that crime does not pay, and Bangor got them, not New York, not Boston or Indianapolis, where they came from.
In honor of the day, the Al Brady Reenactment Group reenacted the arrest of James Dolliver, the only member of the gang that survived the shooting on Central Street.
We came to buy a machine gun to go deer hunting. What's wrong with that? Come on, show's over here now.
The group also held a small memorial service to honor what G.P. Palmer calls the good and the bad.
Alfred James Brady, age 27, shot and killed right here on Central Street.
To mark the historic anniversary, the group also unveiled a marker at the Mount Hope Cemetery to guide future historians to the final resting place of the once notorious gangster.
A lot of people think that we're trying to glorify bad guys. The reality is just the opposite is true. And most of my things I say, Bangor beats the Brady gang, because that's really what it's about. And crime does not pay.
In Bangor, I'm Devin Dagnall, reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22.
Well, the Bangor Land Trust presented its new maps of Bangor's natural areas during the City Council meeting tonight. The maps of Bangor Land Trust preserves and Bangor City Forest aim to help people better understand the habitats and the animals that call them home. The informative illustrations cover more than 6,500 acres of wetlands, including the Penjawak Marsh in Bangor's northwest corridor. The Land Trust donated 200 of the maps to the City of Bangor, with plans to distribute other maps to members of the trust. If you would like to receive a map, you can email info@bangorlandtrust.org.
Always cool to learn more about our surrounding natural habitats,
right.
Especially the city forest and how expansive it is. I know that you and I both like to go
Definitely
walking
one
there.
of my favorite spots.
Yeah, with our dogs, and you see a lot of cool wildlife out there, so always interesting to learn more
Beautiful
about that.
foliage. The trails are just fantastic. They really are.
Yeah, so if you haven't gone out there, check it out.
Yep.
All right, well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, facing more losses on the ground, Russia ramps up its air assault on Ukraine, but there are growing signs it's running out of weapons.
The Biden administration is vowing consequences for Saudi Arabia and the decision by OPEC Plus to cut global oil production. We'll have those stories and more when the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 comes right back.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Mainers took Jared Golden at his word, but he just broke his promise. Golden was a deciding vote for Biden's newest spending bill, even though he knew reckless spending would make inflation worse and everything more expensive. What's worse? Golden and Biden hiked taxes $1 billion on those making less than $50,000. Jared Golden, independent when convenient, liberal when it mattered. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
Check one, check two. The store's appearance may have changed throughout the years, but its dedication to our community and families has not wavered. We will still welcome you with a smile and top-notch service. If you need coffee,
check.
Tasty treats,
Check.
freshly made pizza, check. Or wine and spirits,
Check.
stop by and fill up your tank and check us out.
Paul LePage keeps telling outrageous lies about Governor Mills and what's taught in our schools.
The people of Maine know me, and they know BS when they hear it and see it.
The truth? Mills raised 5 daughters who went to Maine public schools. She's kept politics out of classrooms, letting parents and local school boards decide what to teach children, protecting Maine's long tradition of local control.
I think the Maine people know that with me, what you see is what you get. I've always told them the truth as best I could. I always will.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back. Millions of older Americans could soon be breathing a big sigh of relief, as they could be seeing an increase in their monthly payments. Meanwhile, another inflation report out Thursday will give economists and investors a lot to talk about in regards to the Federal Reserve's next move. Fox's Laura Ingle has more.
Tens of millions of Americans will soon be seeing an increase in their Social Security benefits. On Thursday, the government will announce next year's cost of living adjustment, and with historic inflation, payments are expected to rise as much as 9%. The announcement coming at an uncertain time for the U.S. economy. A new AP poll found 46% of Americans call their financial situation poor, up from 37% in March. President Biden says the country is undergoing an economic transition and believes a slight recession is possible.
It is possible. Look, it's possible. I don't anticipate it. But I do think, look, we talk about the impact on families. The families they have reason to be concerned about energy prices.
Economists and investors are eagerly anticipating the release of the Consumer Price Index due out Thursday, which will show whether or not prices have cooled. The Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates in an effort to bring prices down, and if prices stay high, it could lead to more aggressive hikes.
I don't think the Fed is going to take these indicators and change course. At least that's my assessment. They do not seem to want to go and copy the 1970s, where they increase and then decrease.
A decision on interest rates is expected when the Federal Reserve meets in November. Laura Engel, Fox News.
And shifting our gaze overseas now, facing more losses on the ground, Russia is ramping up its air assault on Ukraine, but there are growing signs it's running out of the weapons it needs to do so. Fox's Trey Yangst has more from Kyiv.
Plenty of action today on the diplomatic front. NATO defense chiefs and other Ukrainian allies meeting in Brussels following 3 days of relentless Russian airstrikes, mostly targeting population centers and infrastructure. There appears to be a consensus on sending more air defense systems to Ukraine, with some officials stressing the need to act quickly to mitigate the impact of the Russian strikes.
What Ukraine is asking for and what we think can be provided is an integrated air missile defense system. They're designed to control priority targets that Ukraine needs to protect.
The airstrikes come as Moscow faces more losses in territory they've already claimed as part of Russia. But in the south, the Ukrainian counteroffensive is slowing as officials work to avoid a disaster at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, which lost external power for the second time in 2 days.
It's an accident waiting to happen. This is because you cannot cut power to a nuclear reactor. It is a very dangerous thing to do.
Meanwhile, there are growing signs Russia could be running out of modern weapons needed to target the Ukrainian military. Officials here say they're seeing a growing number of older missiles and bombs being deployed, as well as surface-to-air missiles that have been modified to attack Ukrainian cities.
They may well be running short of some of their more modern, precise capabilities, things like the Caliber, but they do also have large numbers of stockpiled holdovers.
Officials here now urging Ukrainians to stock up on candles and batteries as Russia hits power grids across the country. In Kyiv, Trey Yangst, Fox News.
Meanwhile, the Biden administration is vowing consequences for Saudi Arabia and the decision by OPEC Plus to cut global oil production. The move is expected to lead to higher prices at the pump here in the U.S. Some members of Congress are already introducing legislation to punish Saudi Arabia. Fox's Mike Emanuel has more.
Gas prices are ticking up again, and a recent move by OPEC Plus to cut global oil production could raise them even higher. President Biden's fist bump diplomacy with Saudi Arabia came up empty this summer, and now the White House is blaming the Saudis, saying the cut will help Vladimir Putin continue funding his invasion of Ukraine.
We're going to react to Saudi Arabia, and they're doing a consultation when they come back, and we will take action.
Key Democratic lawmakers are also outraged and introduced legislation which would halt arms sales to the country for 1 year.
They get almost 73% of their arms from the United States. If it weren't for our technicians, their airplanes literally wouldn't fly.
Saudi Arabia cited the uncertainty surrounding the global economy and says the move will help stabilize energy markets. Critics accuse the Biden administration of looking for a scapegoat to blame for higher gasoline prices just before the midterm elections.
Joe Biden has waged a war on American oil production. If we would just produce more here, we wouldn't have to depend on anyone overseas.
President Biden recently announced he'll be releasing another 10 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve next month. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Meanwhile, the CDC and FDA are authorizing the use of updated COVID-19 booster shots for children. Fox's Garrett Tenney has the story.
The FDA and CDC are signing off on the use of updated COVID-19 boosters for kids as young as 5 years old. It comes as the U.S. works to expand protection against the coronavirus ahead of the holidays in the wake of new vaccine-resistant strains.
We are tracking variants as they arise around the world, and we have seen several now that evade several of our treatments that are very immune evasive.
Last month, Pfizer and Moderna rolled out updated bivalent doses of their vaccines for adults. They contain half the recipe for the original coronavirus, while the other half fights the new dominant BA4 and BA5 Omicron strain.
I'm going to get my 10-year-old the new updated COVID vaccine, and I'm going to encourage every parent I know to do the same.
These new kid-targeted versions contain smaller doses of that mix, but they haven't gone through clinical trials. The FDA says it's relied on data gathered from the original bivalent boosters to make its recommendation. Researchers say this isn't unusual and is done with the flu vaccine as well.
We have been doing this for years upon years with influenza vaccine. I am trusting and my own teenagers are getting this vaccine because we have such great data from a safety and efficacy standpoint.
Approval for the kid doses come as health officials warn of a rise in respiratory illnesses among children, and after a new Scottish study found 1 in 20 people have not recovered from COVID even after 6 and 18 months of being infected. As winter approaches, federal health officials are urging a pandemic-weary public to stay protected and get boosted, ideally by Halloween. In Chicago, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
And much more to come on Fox 22 News at 10 after the break.
Yep, stay with us.
Thursdays, Flatch is back.
You don't see me complaining.
Welcome to Flatch, Thursdays on Fox.
Interest rates are on the rise and making waves in the real estate market. Buying or selling? You need a navigator. I'm Holly Taylor. Come to the one who gets it done. HollyTaylor.realtor.
Janet Mills's education department was teaching kindergartners radical transgender policies. Now it's pushing a curriculum telling students they're racist if they use certain terms. All lives matter, mass incarceration, calling the police on black people, all racist. Janet Mills closed our schools and our kids fell behind. And now she's pushing her radical education agenda. No more politics in schools, no more Janet Mills. The top funder of the main Republican Party is the Republican Governors Association.
Autumn of Life Home Care is a great place to work. The team here provided me with all the opportunities and experience necessary to grow within the company, all while working around my busy college schedule. They provided all the necessary licensing and training. It truly was the job that kickstarted my career.
Autumn of Life Home Care in Brewer is a licensed agency with personal support specialists.
Let our compassionate, reliable, considerate caregivers make your life a little easier by providing assistance for you or your loved one.
Autumn of Life Home Care. We focus on you. Apply today.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm one of the heat pump consultants at Dave's World. We are Maine's leader in heat pump installations because we have an awesome team that is dedicated to an awesome experience, and we are backed by Mitsubishi products. It's easy to promise awesome, but it is another thing to deliver on awesome. There are so many solutions for every home. The goal is to solve problems and find what's right for the customer. You have heating and cooling problems, we will solve them from start to finish. Dave's World, awesome.
Your representative has your back.
Who's he kidding? Jared Golden votes with Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden 83% of the time. The result? A war on the middle class, the worst inflation in 40 years, sky-high energy prices, drugs pouring over the border. And Jared Golden just voted for 87,000 new IRS agents to hassle the middle class. Jared Golden doesn't have your back. He has theirs. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Homes are selling in a single day. The real work happens well before. I'm Holly Taylor, and I have the expertise to guide you through your home improvements. Come to the one who gets it done. HollyTaylor.realtor.
If you've been shopping online or in stores recently, you may have noticed ads for Black Friday discounts already. So what's the deal with all the deals? Fox's Madeline Rivera explains from Washington.
Those looking to get their holiday shopping done quickly may not have to wait until